Hey folks, put the kettle on. It's tea time with Salty Brine. Brace yourself, high-octane action. Tea and chats bring satisfaction. Laugh and sing before we tea you. Yes, we clamor to be near you. Whoa. Now look who we have here.
Wow.
It's John Jarboe. Whoa! Welcome, John. Welcome, audience. Welcome, folks at home.
Salty's here to interview our guests, and then we'll go.
That's right. Hope we can encourage you to buy tickets to this show. Cause maybe you were on the fence,
But now
you'll invite all of your friends. So let's cut all this nonsense and sip our tea and get to know John Jarboe! Yay! Oh my goodness, darling. Mwah. What a delight it is to see you. Look at you.
You said wear something casual.
And here you are.
So, I
Note
did.
taken.
Yeah.
Welcome, have a seat. Here we are. This
Thank
is my
you.
tea parlor.
I love it.
It's a sort of dream. It's just wonderful. It's happening. And you're here, and you're a dream.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Do you drink tea?
I do.
Yes. Well, I have some tea for you right now. Let me pour. What did we? I don't even know what we have in here. Did you request a tea?
I
Because
requested jasmine. I like the
okay. Well,
caffeine.
we don't have jasmine.
Love it. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been lovely.
You're out.
This is the state of the arts, folks.
She's
It's a
gone.
metaphor.
She left.
No more jasmine tea.
It's an Earl Grey.
It's all a metaphor for arts funding. No jasmine tea. We'll make do
We'll
with
make
Earl
do.
Grey.
It's not- I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I failed you, darling.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Do you take milk or sugar?
No, I'm
You're
I'm
fine.
good.
You just want it black. There
Would
it
you
is.
have oat milk? No.
I do. I think we do have
no,
black.
I'm
That's
kidding.
oat
I'm
milk.
kidding. I was just
my
trying to be
God.
picky.
All right. Okay. Here we are. Let's
Cheers.
see-
Shall we cheers?
Gosh, this is so good.
I love that you got
How is
floral-themed mugs or teacups for me.
Yes. These are my great-grandmother's teacups.
Are they really?
Yes.
Oh,
Isn't that nice?
This is my grandmother's brooch.
And,
do you think they know that we're queer? do you think they've been tipped off?
are you watching? I mean, you said when you came in, that your grandmother would be quite proud.
Oh, I think she would be.
Yeah.
She's a Trump voter, and she'd be so proud. No, it's dark. It's dark, everybody. I think she would be proud, but it's complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
Yeah.
I would like to think that my great-grandmother would be proud of me. I'd never met her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, you didn't?
No, my great-grandmother? No, she was gone.
I'm sure she would be proud of you.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I had to wear just a little something because you were coming. And I thought, just a little something. And here you are in this sparkle. And I feel so good.
Yeah, I feel like we're matching. I'm matching your tassel. I'm going to take off my foreskin
Yeah,
a
go-
little bit. Just like,
Oh, that's a very convenient thing that most people can't do.
yeah, it's true. You just pull it back. Yeah. Is this a family? I didn't get any notes about family audience, but the show is a family show that I'm doing, just not this one.
Oh, yeah. Your show is a family show.
Not really. Well, it's about family.
And that's enough.
And it's good for 13 and up, to be serious.
I'm going to pull
13 and
out.
up.
I'm going to pull
Yeah.
out my very
Ooh.
important host cards. Thank you. But now, the last time I saw you, we were on a boat.
We were on a
Do
boat.
you remember that?
I do remember that.
And I remember very specifically, I said to you, I really want to sit down and talk to you about what we do, because we both make cabaret.
Yeah.
And I just want to sit down and have a cup of coffee with you and talk cabaret. And here we are. We're not having coffee, we're having tea.
I love it. I love it. And that was that boat. I was on that boat with you and Barbara Mayer Gustern.
Yes.
And she
we
got
lost.
so drunk on that boat that she fell down and then she came back up right away like one of those clown things. And I was like, Barbara, are you okay? Are you okay? She was my date. And she was like, I'm fine. And she was dancing and dancing. And that was
Joyful.
yeah. She was, for those of you that don't know, she's a brilliant voice teacher. And the show Rose that I'm doing is dedicated to her.
Is it really?
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
is.
know that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you worked with her as a vocal coach.
Yeah.
As did I. She was
A
amazing.
genius, yeah.
A genius.
Yeah.
All right. How did you come to cabaret?
I moved to Philadelphia,
Yeah.
which people ask me if I'm a New York-based artist, and I say yes because most of New York is in Philadelphia. But they've all moved there.
There are people
I noticed
fleeing.
there's silence from the New York crowd.
Like, well,
But,
it's not these people.
There's a lot of
it's others.
It's others. They're really coming. But I moved to Philly, and I was doing a lot of mediocre Shakespeare. And a lot of mediocre musical theater.
Great.
And
Golden.
Someone asked me if I they were like, could you do a cabaret? We have a little space and some money, and I didn't know what it was. And of course I said yes.
Yeah.
And then I threw myself into it, and it was really the direct address with the crowd, being in an active conversation and not lying about like you not being there. Like there are people here and actually responding that felt really, I felt like I found my voice in that. And then I spent a lot of my, I'm still in my early 20s, but I spent a lot of I spent a lot of my early 20s.
God, you look so young.
Thank you so much. A lot of my early 20s actually traveling around and researching the history of cabaret in Paris and Berlin and Zurich and trying to figure out, who my ancestors were.
Yes.
Because there just wasn't a space in Philadelphia or a form in Philadelphia that I had discovered yet that felt like my voice fit. And I remember this amazing kind of dance producer, Debbie Shapiro. She was like, I've seen you in so many things, but I never really saw you until I saw you in cabaret. And I think that was really about finding a forum. And I started a company called the Bearded Ladies.
Yes.
And that was in 2010. It was nominative determinism because it took me about 10 years I realized that I'm actually a bearded lady and to come out as trans. And I was maybe embarrassingly really processing gender and identity very publicly with a bunch of other folks that all are now like admitting to themselves in the world that they're trans. It was just a whole group of people that got together and we're like, we're not even drag artists, we're actors. We're actors and we're playing roles. And we're like, maybe we're drag artists. We're like, why are we still wearing these outfits out in the world?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, well, God. And everyone else is just like, okay. When I came out as trans, we had this intern, Ella Perlman. I met them when they were 15. They knew who they were. And then I came out to them, I was like, Ella! And they were like, yeah, I've been waiting.
Yeah.
So like, it's just, it's been a very interesting process, and the cabaret form has been a gift to me personally. And is so powerful because it's live work that insists on its liveness. And if we're gonna compete with all of the kind of virtual things and the things that you can pause and play, we have to be better at embracing the form that we're in and using it for all it's worth. And I think cabaret does that really well.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I am addicted to the no fourth wall form. Kick through, got it down. Yeah, it's so delightful to make something that can literally reach out and touch people, to run around the room and climb into people's laps, and it's so joyful to connect.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like when I'm making stuff, I as an artist, I'm like screaming inside to reach out and touch.
Yeah.
And cabaret does that. It's so thrilling. So your show that you're doing at Under the Radar, which we must talk about. Here we are. It's called Rose, You Are What You Eat.
You are who you eat.
You are who you eat.
Yeah, but it's good.
That's okay. You are who you eat.
Let us into the part.
And no, this is important because of the premise of the show. But before you describe it, is it cabaret? Is the show cabaret?
It's genre promiscuous.
Oh!
It is. I think it draws from cabaret. But it also draws from kind of a theatrical form. And performance art. So it's not a piece that I would put in a cabaret space. I wouldn't put it in a Joe's Pub. I think it needs to be in kind of a warmer, in the kind of womb of a theater space. It needs to be in a place where you can feel a little distance and safe. Because it's very funny, but also raw. It's also raw and vulnerable. So I wouldn't say it's a cabaret, but I feel like one of the great gifts of working in that form is that I've gotten to play in opera and help opera singers bring cabaret principles into their own work, and I've brought cabaret principles into my theater practice as well.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, great. So now tell me, what is the show about?
Great.
Everybody's favorite question.
Yeah. So, I love this question. It is. It's a musical healing ritual for queerdos. for trans folks, for guardians of trans folks. I really made it for moms. I love moms.
Yeah.
But when I came out as trans to my aunt, I was sitting in a little cottage in Western Michigan, and I said, Aunt Margot, I'm using she, her pronouns, I'm trans. And she said, you know, John, you had a twin in the womb. You ate her. That's why you are the way you are. And as I say in the show, that was a lot to digest because I didn't know that I had a twin. I knew that if I had been assigned female at birth, I would have been called Rose after my Aunt Rose and my great Aunt Rose. And I just didn't know I ate Rose. And so
What does it mean?
and I, you know, I heard that, and there are times in your life where people tell you who you are or tell you something about yourself, and also when, especially in the Midwest, when you're like apparently a gender cannibal like myself, where you have a moment of what might feel like a microaggression or something, and I just paused and I was like, thank you for that. And I've been processing it for a while. I found the baby book, I talked to my mother, I found the story, and I started working with a group of trans and queer composers to write a piece about how I ate Rose in the womb and how Rose has been eating me from the inside out. So that's what it is. It tells that story.
It's incredible, and you've described this, this story about Rose as a gift, actually.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope it's a gift.
Did it feel like a gift?
Oh, that story.
When your aunt told you?
Yeah, I think it was. I think the idea. I mean, there are so many gifts nowadays, and so many of those gifts are coming actually from a younger generation of queer people that are expanding our language, opening our minds, and teaching us who we are and who we can be. That intern, Ella Perlman, was like, this is who you are. I knew when I saw you, and I've just been waiting. So, I mean, I think that was a gift from my aunt. And this idea of gender cannibalism has been very interesting to me because I feel like as queer folks we're pretty starved, figuratively,
yes,
and sometimes literally, but figuratively in this case, where you're like searching for material, like I guess I'm so hungry, I'm just gonna eat Silence of the Lambs, like that's maybe there's something in there, and you're like that's problematic. You're like Ellen DeGeneres, you're just eating things to figure out who the heck you are.
Yeah.
It's like a James Bond villain that's queer coded, and you're like, maybe I'm a James Bond villain. And it's really messed up when those are the only references you have. But
yes.
So for me, Rose is also kind of a list, a menu of all the things that I've eaten to try to figure out who I am, to try to digest who I am.
It's incredible, and I love the metaphor and the literal together. Do you know this actual eating?
Yeah.
Do you know it's a wild image, and I really can't wait to see the show and see how it plays out.
Come
okay,
hungry.
So I will and I'll always do.
Yeah.
You had this vision of Rose's life. So you grew up in Michigan, yeah, and you played hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you imagine what her life would have been if you hadn't eaten her?
So I'll try not to get into spoiler alert.
Okay, yes, don't ruin anything.
Yeah, when you're born in Michigan, everybody, you're given a hockey stick and you're given a hunting license. That's what you're given. You're given those things. And so I've hunted. I have images that my father staged, many photos of me staged with deer blood on my face, like. So, trying to impress father. I did change all the names in Rose just to protect the innocent. So dad has been changed to father, mom has been changed to mother, just to protect them.
No one will ever know.
I don't want anyone to know. But I do. I wrote a song with the amazing composer Emily Bate about called "She Summers in Vienna," which is about how John is playing hockey in Michigan and Rose is off. Working in a hot chocolate shop in Vienna, sleeping with all her customers and never getting their names, but always meeting their mothers. And then she spends her falls in Canada, and she spends her springs in Florida in a gazebo, playing solitaire and winning all the time. So I wrote this, and I think that that's what's so rich about trans experiences looking at a photo, which can be really harmful sometimes when they're like, and here is Jarboe, here's John Jarboe when she was 4. And you're like, oh God, why'd you show that? But actually in that photo are multiple stories. You can look at it and you're like, okay, well there's little John, and there's mother, there's father, but if you look in the corner over there, like they're on a speedboat, but Rose is actually riding a dolphin in the corner if you use the magnifying glass. You know, that there's a whole world behind the photos.
Yes.
And part of what I was trying to do in Rose is give myself permission to go there, and to imagine with the audience what Rose's life was, is, will be.
Oh, so that's the show, is we're with Rose, actually.
Yeah, you're with John, you're with Rose. Yeah.
What do you think Rose would think about the show if she could come see it?
Rose, wow. I think she's in it. That's so complicated.
But she's in it.
I say, I'm like, all the names have been changed, but I has been changed to John and Rose, but John is Rose and Rose is John. And sometimes I just hope you are you tonight. So like, I think it's a little confusing. The interesting thing is, the project is also multi-genre in a way. So there's a performance piece, but there's also going to be an art installation in Philadelphia of all these films that I made with Christopher Ashe. Because originally it was a pandemic. Duke from Works in Process at the Guggenheim commissioned us to make a film, and it became a series of films. And then the Works in Process at the Guggenheim said, well, we don't really know what to do with these films. Can you just do a show? And we're like, okay, we'll do a show. And we made a show. But these films are actually going to be an art installation in Philadelphia at the Fabric Workshop and Museum. And so my determination is that John really wrote the performance, but it's Rose's gallery. Rose's gallery. She's quite a known artist, and she slept with Duchamp. That's where Rose C'est La Vie came from. Like she's very, so she, that's. But I don't. I mean, she's part of it. Yeah.
She's part of it,
Yeah.
and she's part of you.
Yeah.
And she's eating you from the inside out.
Yeah, for sure.
You spoke a little bit about this a moment ago, and I want to go back to it. That the show is really for queer folks, for trans folks. What is it that compels you to make art for those people?
Oh, yeah. I think we need more work for us by us, and I feel kind of naughty saying that because I feel like I should be like, it's for everyone, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
I made it for queer folks and guardians of queer folks, and I think it also resonates with a broader audience that has feelings about self-acceptance. And one of the games in the show is doing a sing-along where you get to play my mother. Congratulations. And we do a sing-along that imagines everything that mother would say.
Yeah.
That you would want mother to say when you told her who you are. So can you imagine, like, if you came out to someone or invited someone in and they said everything that you wanted them to say, like, you're beautiful, you're worthy, you're and so the piece uses, that's the cabaret piece of it, is it uses sing-along in a way to invite people into that imagining. And that is meaningful for many folks.
For many folks, but for queer folks,
yeah.
I wonder, do you think it would give folks that have never had an experience of any kind of coming out, that whether it be in a queer sense or another way, just have this sing-along and experience maybe a little bit of what that feels like, but that's maybe that's not the point.
Yeah, I'd have to talk to cis straight people to figure out. No, no, that's naughty. No, I think it's. I have to really expand my community. I think, yeah, I think it has resonance. I think maybe I lost the question a little bit in my silliness. I think it is meaningful for anyone to imagine how you can be received as who you are, and the reason I'm excited about the metaphor of cannibalism, and the idea of gender cannibalism, is that it's hard to politicize. Like, it's not a show about trans identity. It's a show about gender cannibalism. And you can outright reject that if you want, but you start sounding silly. So I feel like at a time when it's just like trans identity is so politicized right now. It feels so I'm going to use a French word. It feels so fucked up being in this country and being trans and being in these beautiful, abundant. There's so much abundance in queer community. There's so much imagination, and then to run into constantly the scarcity and the violence. Philadelphia, where I'm from, the Moms for Liberty, they were there. They chose Philadelphia because every street's named Liberty in Philadelphia, and they were like, here we are. And it's just it's a dangerous. It's been a dangerous time. It continues to be a dangerous time.
Yeah.
And so I was also hoping to carve a space that was so weird that it might avoid being politicized, or if people politicized it, they would seem silly.
Yeah.
So that's another gift from dear Aunt Margot, whose name has not been changed because everyone has an Aunt Margot. You'll never find her.
You know her.
You'll never find her. You all have one. She came to Thanksgiving. Yeah.
What makes you love mothers so much?
Oh, well, we started with grandmas.
Yeah.
I just, I love, yeah, the piece takes place in my mother, partially. God bless her soul. She's never seen it and she never will. It takes place, it's not for her. I mean, it takes place in her womb.
Yeah.
And I just admire, I think, I admire the load that I see many mothers and people who identify as mothers carrying, whether that's a house mother of a drag house or a mother who has biological or adopted, however, I think mothers are where it's at, and because it takes place in. It takes place quite literally setting inside mother.
Is it in brackets like a stage
How far
direction?
is this being broadcast? Is there? Can we cut it? Can we? Because of the setting, I think there's a particular need for mother's approval in the piece.
Yeah. I feel quite comfortable and joyful around other people's mothers. Do you find that? Like, I like meeting my friends' mothers, and I just want to sit down.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm good at it.
I'm like,
I think that's
get
what
aside.
it is.
You've got mother problems. Let me get right in here. I've got none. I've got no mother problems. No mommy issues at all.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love to chat to a mom. I get it. I feel like I'm chatting to a mom right now a little bit.
Oh,
it feels.
thank you. That's a compliment.
Yeah, I mean it as a compliment.
Sometimes when I'm not wearing my nonprofit drag with the Bearded Ladies, because I started the Bearded Ladies cabaret, which is a beautiful constellation of queer artists in Philadelphia and beyond. And sometimes they call me mother, and I'm very honored by that. That doesn't work on a grant application for some reason, but it feels great emotionally. So
I have a friend who
that.
calls me their drag mother, and that makes me feel very warm.
Yeah.
It's a remarkable feeling, actually, and it's not a thing I sought. I don't go out and try to mother.
Yeah.
But wow, it's a powerful feeling.
And I feel like also queer community needs adults in it. We're obsessed with youth. I mean, this is something I learned from one of my mentors, Lady Bartlett, who runs the William Way Center in Philadelphia. It's a great center if you want to check it out for queer art and archives and all of that. And kind of has talked to me about, like, there's a dearth of people taking responsibility. We've got a lot, we have queer elders, and we have ancestors, and we have queer youth, but like who's gonna play that adult role a bit? Who's gonna kind of be taught by the young people, but also take care of the young people and take care of the older people in the queer generation? There's a bit of a dearth of that, so we need mom energy.
We do need mom energy.
Yeah.
And thinking about getting older and being a senior citizen in the queer community and taking care of those folks is so important.
Yeah.
Especially because our family structures are often different. We need to have the family structure for that to happen.
Yeah.
So you're talking about sort of sidestepping this political issue of trans in this show. But you've done some political work with climate in the past, and you have a show that was drag on ice in some way, skating, where you played a character named Humanity. Is that true?
That was the family show version. Humanity was the name of, it was Miss Humanity for the kids, but for the adults, it was called Beards on Ice Edging. It was the adult show. And I played It's so delightful.
That's my favorite.
I've been trying to do it for years, and they finally, I don't think anyone really let me, but I made it
You
happen.
forced it. You forced it. Yeah.
And I played Miss Homo Sapiens, so everyone could be like, look at that homo. Oh, no, homo, no. And it was called Beards on Ice. We did it last year in Philly in an outdoor rink, because these outdoor rinks are basically cabaret spaces. And I think, as you know, like, cabaret is not just about the mode of performance, it's about the space, it's about the vibe. Are there drinks? Like, are you there for another reason besides the performance, so that the performance can take you by surprise?
Yeah.
And so we did it in this outdoor skating rink, and the premise was climate justice is so challenging, it's so impossible, almost as impossible as getting drag queens to ice skate. So if we can just get this drag queen to ice skate within an hour, we can solve climate change. And it was so delightful, because it was obviously silly, and there was a, dancing last polar bear on Earth was skating and things like that. But and it was absurd, because I feel like the only answer to how impossible things seem is absurdity. Like, absurdity is a pathway through to new ideas, because often, and I learned this because we worked with a bunch of climate justice advocates that sat and had little tables with hot chocolate. So afterwards, you'd go to them and sign up or talk to them. So it funneled people into talking to these activists. And I learned from those folks that it's like one of the problems we're dealing with is that the questions we're asking and the answers we're given are all part of this messed up system.
Mm-hmm.
And so absurdity and joy and humor can kind of break us into maybe some new questions and some new answers. So yeah, it was a really delightful show, and it will be coming back next year
Will
in
it
Philadelphia.
indeed?
Yeah, Beards on Ice.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we were going to do it this year, but it was too much to do all the things. So
You're doing
we
a
said
lot.
no.
Do you feel good at saying no or bad at saying no?
I feel great at it. No, I'm horrible at saying no, but
Yeah.
we're not trained to do that in the
No.
arts. Because
No.
we're like, where's the jasmine tea? I'll take the Earl Grey.
God,
But can you
we're
imagine?
back on the jasmine.
Can you imagine if I was like, I'm waiting for jasmine? I feel like the arts community sometimes has to say, I'm waiting for jasmine tea.
That's right.
But we can't eat each other.
No.
We can't. You're another artist. I'll drink whatever Earl Grey you give me. I'll drink. Yeah. Yeah.
And it is quite good.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Will you tell me about the Beard Mobile?
Yeah.
Because I'm obsessed with this.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, Rose was a project that I started in the pandemic, outside of the Bearded Ladies, because I was like, I got to get away from this organization thing that I've created, and I started working on it separately. But the Beards, once it became a theater piece, the Beards started producing it, which is great. And the Bearded Ladies make all sorts of things. And during the pandemic, we took a 6-foot box truck, built a stage that comes out on it, and it's called the Beard Mobile. We were asked once in a meeting with a partner, they were like, could it be more neutral? And we're like, what do you mean by neutral? She's got lashes and a beard. She's high femme. That's high femme neutral. I think they meant white. But in fact, I know. But anyway, she's high femme neutral, and she's got a gorgeous beard, and she drives around the city of Philadelphia. She'll be coming out this spring. We're doing a show called Check It Out, which goes to libraries, and it's about banned books. So it's a banned book delivery mobile, and in one of the books, Julian is a Mermaid, which is like such a great queer book. There's a drag bookworm that pops out and is asking, like, is the free library in Philadelphia, and the library in Philadelphia is called the Free Library, is it actually free? What does it mean to have a free library? So it's this little, it's a light subject for the children. But it drives around the city, it performs, it goes at protests, it leads the Pride Parade with the amazing company Gallet in Philadelphia. So check out the Beard Mobile if you're in Philly. It hasn't come to New York yet.
Bring it to me, please.
Yeah, I talked to Alex at Joe's about it at one point, but she is a 2006 Isuzu, and
hello.
Yeah,
You're worried about her making the trip.
She's also a metaphor for the arts community. We'll see if we can get her up here sometime. Yeah.
Do you have to deal with the truck maintenance when things go wrong?
I have outfits that make me look like I can. But no, we have an amazing team in Philly that. But she does break down sometimes. She does
Don't we
break
all?
down. Yeah. She does break down. We took her to DC once, which was amazing. She can only go 55 miles per hour.
You went
God.
to DC at 55.
Yeah, we did.
My God,
Yeah.
it has been such a treat to chat with you.
Oh
Thank
my
you
gosh.
so much for coming. Thank you to our very special guest, John Jarboe.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, studio audience. Rose, You Are Who You Eat is running January 10th through the 20th at La Mama Experimental Theater Club. Please go see it. Thank you so much. Nate, play us out.